Okay, welcome everybody to CTC the Devil's Triangle Tribal Council number 11. I have the 9 of you here with me today. So happy to have you. My name is John Buckley. And today we'll be having a lovely tribal council. So, just to start things off, there seems to have been quite a few blindsides and pluralities and unexpected votes this merge. Does it keep paranoia levels quite high, Laura?
I would definitely say so. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, how do I put this? Um, I think paranoia levels are high because there are some unknowns in the game, and although there is kind of an obvious split happening right now, there seems to be a six-person majority versus a three-person minority. Factors like, for example, idols, factors like Mirage Island, factors like people wanting to make big moves, factors like other people getting blindsided in the past, all of those things can add to paranoia. And I mean, I'll be blunt and say that I'm in the minority three. So paranoia is very high for me. But, we try and do what we can. And we're honestly hoping that someone from Mirage comes back soon and comes running into our open arms to try and shake up the game. But, maybe that would cut down on some of our paranoia, but you never know what can happen.
Absolutely. Stephen, Laura mentioned, some pretty clear sides. Is it clear to everybody? And if so, who's in the minority?
I would say, yeah, like it was pretty clear. Like, I'll be candid. Like, I was really proud of myself because I didn't have a vote last night or last tribal, but I didn't vote incorrectly. So that's like, hey, like first time in a few tribals. But no, I think, yeah, there seems to be a pretty tight majority, and I'd love it if, you know, something could change. But my mind is like, as long as I'm here another day, then hey, every day's a new day. So that's kind of where I am.
Kevin, what are these unknown factors that Laura might be talking about? She said there are still unknown factors in this game, and obviously your unknowns might not be Laura's unknowns. What can you tell me about that?
Well, as you said, I can't speak on behalf of Laura for her unknowns, but I can imagine like a lot of the unknowns are advantages in the game. There's not just idols floating around. We've seen, whatever amulets get played, we've seen extra votes. You don't know. Maybe there already has been a competition and somebody's coming back directly after this vote out. We don't know what's going to happen until it happens.
Um, Abby, on these two different sides that we have, are there, trust exchanges between the two sides? Do you think that there's more than just sides? Or is there greater communication happening?
I mean, I'm gonna flirt with anybody. Doesn't matter what side you're on. But I mean, I think the reason that the six is working well is because we are keeping things close to the vest. So not that I know.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see here. Brandon, how does jury management factor into this particular game?
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think that people who are new to the game, like myself, I'm not thinking about jury management. I don't know left from right, especially in a game as chaotic as this. I don't know what to expect, so I don't even have the bandwidth to think about jury management. I think the people who have the luxury of thinking about jury management are probably the ones that are more experienced, who have the strategic background, who those types of things, right? But there are a couple of us probably in the game still that not very experienced at playing these things. And I don't want to speak for anybody else, but that is literally the last thing on my mind. And I'm just trying to get through one other vote.
Do you, Riazo, do you think it's necessary to have a strategic mind, or necessary to have played multiple games to have a strategic mind?
Nah, I feel like there's people here that, it's their first game, second game, third game, and they're playing great. So I feel like, it just depends on the person. Doesn't matter how many times you play, anyone can still do good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we're getting down to it, with the numbers. We're at 9 single digits. This is halfway through-ish, we'll see what happens. And it's only gonna continue getting smaller, except for one little round, when somebody comes back from Mirage. Is that playing a big factor in people's decisions in voting people out, Weeze?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that there's a lot of eyes on Mirage and who's already there, and maybe how a few people, if they were voted out, how the dynamic would change there, because we know there's a multitude of ways people can leave Mirage, votes, challenges, and we just had a challenge, so a vote's probably coming up. And so a lot of people's minds are like, obviously we talked about jury management. I think people are like, when you blind someone, like you said, there's been a lot of blind sides and everything. You kind of want the people that you blindside not to be able to come back, and take their revenge. And so I think some people are thinking about, okay, so if I'm voting someone out, how do I make sure that they stay out potentially? So I think there are a lot of people who are taking Mirage into account and how the dynamics will shift.
Sure, absolutely. And Eleanor, I didn't ask you a question, right?
Correct.
Do you see these sides shifting, or do you think it's going to be one and done, majority takes out minority, and then you start cannibalizing? Or do we see some sort of,
Yeah, well, I would hope that it would be a minority getting voted out by a majority. Just because I feel like I am a part of the majority, so I would feel like that would benefit me. I would prefer for the majority to stay together and not come at each other until a discussed upon time. Yeah, but yeah, I think that Laura read it correctly.
Great. Is there anybody I did not ask a question? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Scott. And Scott, I'm so sorry. I just ran out of tribal questions in my brain.
It's okay.
This is quite embarrassing. When we talk about getting down to the numbers, to smaller numbers, does your strategy start to change from this larger merge scenario?
Honestly, I feel like my strategy is changing round by round as people go home. So, I mean, it's very hard to it's very difficult to try to like choose which strategy to go with in the game like by itself. But once once the game gets down to like smaller numbers, I do find my strategy changing just a little bit, but like I said, it changes every round, so there's not much to go off of because my mind is crazy.
Absolutely. All right, it is time to vote, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to say before we vote. Amazing. It's time to vote. You will have until 10:17 to do so. Please bump your votes in your project.
Okay, guys, as always, it's
no.
that
Now, as always, it's time for shout outs. Interrupt me, say hi to your prod guests, tell us about your day. Please fill the silence and emptiness in my heart. Thank you.
Hi, Jake. I miss you.
I also miss you, Jake.
Yes. We all do.
Hello to the prod guests, the dogs, my wife, and yeah, and everybody watching this. Enjoy.
Kevin, you can't just say my wife and not do it in the Borat voice.
My wife.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, quick shout out to Brandon. I could see the gains, bro. You've been going crazy in the gym, man. Good stuff.
Gotta hit it. Shout out to Panera.
Yeah, I've been going crazy, dog, for real.
Do you guys remember that video that went viral like 2 years ago of that woman who super glued or gorilla glued her hair to her head?
Yes.
I was thinking about it.
Miss her.
Shout out to that woman.
Do super glue
Period.
next time.
You guys want to see my slime?
Sure.
Shout out to ibuprofen for doing a bunch of heavy lifting the past 2 days.
Shout out to Kevin for competing in a CrossFit competition.
This one is really sticky.
Ooh.
Did you make that?
No. A bartender I know did, and they gave it to me.
Right.
Pink. So pretty.
Shout out to the current book I'm reading, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Highly recommended.
I didn't know you could read.
I'm in the middle of learning. It's a work in process. I have to start with picture books.
I'd like to shout out my favorite Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, my hot husband.
Okay. I have the votes. If anybody has anything that they would like to play, an advantage or an idle, now would be the time to do so. Great. I will read the votes. person who has the majority will get an opportunity to speak before heading to Mirage Island. Okay. First vote. Riazzo. Second vote. Laura. Third vote. Eleanor. That's one vote Riazzo, one vote Laura, one vote Eleanor. Next vote. Riazzo. Fifth vote. Laura. Sixth vote. Eleanor. Seventh vote. Laura. Eighth vote. Eleanor. Final vote, and the next person voted out of CTC the Devil's Triangle, Eleanor. You will be headed to Mirage Island. Please take a moment, say anything you'd like to say.
I had a lot of fun playing with you guys.
Bye, Eleanor.
Hopefully I'll see you later.
Bye, Eleanor.
Bye, Eleanor.
All right.